You've got a great outlook on the technology sector, and some see a lot of promise in it, and others see a lot of questions right now, I think, in established technology companies. Where are you seeing growth, and where are you seeing weakness?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. In the traditional IT industry, I think one of the key challenges that CIOs face is they have to deliver more innovation, but with less investment. So they're looking for technology to really enable them to do that. How do they drive efficiency in IT infrastructure, yet at the same time enable businesses to innovate? So as a result of that, I think we are seeing growth in areas like video. Video can be a great tool to enhance bottom line, right? When it reduces travel, where you're using video conferencing. So video is a huge growth area. And similarly in the data center with virtualization and moving to cloud, which helps a lot of companies move their spending from CapEx to OpEx. So those two areas, significant growth, interestingly driven both by the constraints that companies have, but also that the demand they have to drive innovation.
Where is the weakness?
The weakness, I think, is in traditional siloed architectures. If you kind of think about the data center, in the past, people used to buy storage separate from compute, separate from networking, and more the trend is shifting to converged infrastructure. There is weakness in simply investing in the traditional models for IT.
Goldman Sachs has asserted that your most recent earnings, down 33% from a year ago, was the bottom, at least in their opinion. Do you agree?
I think there's a huge potential for growth for our company, and we really feel we are done with the restructuring to really focus us back on the priorities. We are shifting. We've done a lot of work in portfolio management, also in the area of R&D, for example. So I'm very excited about the future and where we see growth going forward.
When we spoke a few years ago, we had Flip, and you were very optimistic about Flip. Cisco has subsequently killed Flip. So I'm wondering, when it comes to the direct consumer-facing market, how important is that for Cisco? Or are you guys essentially saying that's not our focus, that's not where we can win, we're focusing on enterprise?
Yeah, it's the latter. We are definitely saying our strength is in the enterprise and service provider segments. So those are the two segments that we serve from a market segment point of view, and we are definitely focusing our investments back in those two areas. The consumer part is important because consumerization is occurring in IT, right? People are bringing different devices into the enterprise. There's a new term now, I'm sure you've heard, called BYOD. Bring your own device into the enterprise, and a lot of times it puts a lot of pressure on CIOs who are not prepared to deal with security. So, which actually, in a way, it's important for us to understand the consumer technology trends, but in return, what we want to do and what we are doing is focusing on how the network enables security when you bring your own device into the enterprise.
So we recently saw the Google-Motorola deal, and I'm wondering if you see Google becoming a competitor in hardware.
Interesting. I think it all depends on what their strategy will be going forward. Today, Google and Cisco operate in different spaces. We do overlap in some areas, perhaps like in software-defined software as a service offerings. They have Gmail as an offering from their cloud, which we don't necessarily offer email, but we have WebEx, which is a conferencing solution. But other than that, there's not a lot of overlap. We use Android in our unified communications platform as a software operating system. So they're more of a partner. It really depends on what their future strategy is, how much they want to get into hardware, right? And
whether they move from a partner to a competitor, or can they be both?
They can be both. There are companies like Microsoft, for example. We compete, we partner with them in many areas. And today, I would say Google is more of a partner for us. We rarely see each other where we compete with each other.